Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and I got so excited earlier this week. I was watching Jennifer McGuire's Craft and Connect Live, and I wanted to try and recreate this card style using my Cricutmaker. And I will link Jennifer's video below. You can skip to the 28-minute mark to watch her create the card. Before that, it's a lot of product discussion, and unless you want to watch that part. I wasn't really sure how to go about this, but in the end I feel like I created a similar look with fewer layers by using Creative Fabrica images and Cricut's print and cut feature. Now, I didn't have to color anything in, no stencils were necessary, so I'm really eager to hear what you think of this idea. So let's get started and see if I can remember how to do this. This is going to be a little mini tutorial if you're interested in this card style. Unfortunately, I can't share the card with you because of the print and cut images that were uploaded. But I'm going to show you how to make it. And I want to tell you that you will see me using a template for print and cut so that you can maximize the amount of space that you can print and cut on. And I got my template from Angie Holden. She provides several different ones for different sizes of paper. I will link her page below, and you can go to her link that she shares. If you scroll down to the how to get the free files template section and then click that little pink word that says here, you got to fill out the form and she'll send you the templates. But follow the directions on her page or watch her video, which is also linked on that page, to see how to use the template. It's really great. But I also discovered, because I can print with my printer on 12 by 12 cardstock, even the 100 or 110 pound cardstock. So I wanted to know, what can I do with 12 by 12 paper? And I actually found I Googled it. Let's see if we can find it here. Alright, so I was wrong. It's not Google, it's Bing. For some reason my laptop started defaulting to Bing some time ago, and I just don't always remember to hit Google. But anyway, my cat's needing some attention. Yes, Gypsy. Apologize for the inconvenience, Gypsy. That'll never happen. Anyway, so I did do a search on it, and it says you can do a print and cut on 12 by 12 paper. And you have to set your measurements to 10.94 by 10.94. So that's what I did, and I'm anxious to try that out. Now, I haven't used it yet, but this is just for your information. I will be trying this because why not? And honestly, it's the only way to get two of these cards on one sheet of paper is to use a 12 by 12. So let's switch over to our Cricut Designspace. So I pulled in this image from my files that are from Creative Fabrica, and you can see I've kind of printed it out or copied it several times. I wanted to save the image in certain sizes. But this is the image, and I just think it's beautiful. I wanted something that had a bit more of a curve to it, that fit more like the design that Jennifer used, but I didn't have time to go through all of my images. So I thought this would work, and it did turn out pretty well. So I'm just going to put that back the way it was, because I probably had it that way for a reason. Alright, so I've got a couple things going on here, and it took me several tries to figure this out. But one of the things I did was I created this card base, which is, it's 8.5 by 5.5, and then I trimmed out the edge over here. So that's the part I want to show you how to do. This pink image here is the template that I was showing you from Angie Holden. Like I said, she does offer it in various sizes. I use it frequently to make sure that when I'm printing and cutting, I can get it all on the same, on one page. And it will tell you if your design gets too big. Here, let's see. Align, I'm going to center it. And then I'm going to take this part. I'm going to enlarge it just a little bit. So right over here you can see where everything's attached. That's the group I'm working on. I'm going to enlarge it a little bit, and because it's a print and cut, you can see this little red exclamation point over here. If you click on that, it'll tell you your image is too large and to adjust it. However, you can get more than out of it than just this here. So that's where Angie's templates come into play, is to help you get more out of your print and cut sheet. Because I don't know about you, but I don't like to waste cardstock. Alright, so I created that. I also created, that's smaller than I wanted for some reason. This size right here, this is our 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to duplicate that, and we're going to play with that. I'm just going to pull it down here, and actually I will move all of this over out of the way so we have a little bit more room to play. Like I said, I apologize, I will not be able to share this file with you, but if I can find the link for the Creative Fabrica flower bundle, I will share that with you if you're interested. But you can do this with any image. Okay, so I want to put that back where I got it. Okay, so I'm going to make a copy of that. And what I did was I figured out where I wanted my placement for my flowers on the card. Now, I kind of turned it a little bit and got something like this, and then I just cut off the edge. But you could turn it some more if it'll let you rotate it. That's not bad. And that gives you a little bit more coverage over here if you want to cover up whatever sentiment you put on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight both of these. I'm going to align them at the top and at the right. And actually I might not have needed to do that yet. Let me think about it. I think what I want to do is, because I find it cuts better with an offset. So let me back up just a little bit. Let's go into Effects, Offset. I like a small offset, but not a negative one, although you could. That's nice and small. Okay. So I'll make sure the corners are rounded, because that's going to make it cut a little bit nicer, cleaner. I'm going to hit Apply. And I'm going to change that to white, because I think it'll show up better. Okay, so I'm going to group those together for now so that I can move them together instead of separately. I'm going to now select everything and align top and align right, and there you go. So let's zoom in and just make sure that that is touching all the way over here. I think I'm going to slide it over just a little bit, one click, and up one click. Okay. That way I know it's going to cut it off. So now let's zoom back out just a little. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup this, and I'm going to take this white offset and I'm going to cut it from this card base. Slice. And then we've got this card base here. So I'm going to move all of this. I'm going to regroup it just to keep it together. And now we've got to work with this card base. So I'm going to show you what the next step is. You're going to click on it. Obviously you have to select it. You're going to go into Contour. And I like to just hide all contours. And then I'm going to click on the one that I want to keep and get rid of the ones that I don't. And then if we hit Apply, you've got this edge over here. So your card front will cut out this edge if you do it this way. So what you need to do next, let me find, oh, here it is. Okay, let's make another copy of that. So this is going to be our card base, but it needs to be double-sided, right? Or, you know, the full width of the card base. So I'm going to do a size. I'm going to unclick this, and we're going to make this 8.5. Okay, and then we're going to line this up over here. So I'm going to zoom in again. I want you to see this really well. I'm going to select both pieces. I'm going to align top, align right, and slice. And you pull that away. And there you go. There's your card base now. I don't have the score line in here, so let's add that real quick. And it needs to be 4 1/4 tall, or 5 1/2 tall. 5 1/2 is what we're working with. Alright, so then you can select both, align and center, and I would attach that. So there you go. So now you've got this fun edge on your card, and when you fold it over, let's flip back to the desktop here. When you fold it over, there you go. And isn't that cute, and isn't that fun? Now I just did this a single layer. You can do it like Jennifer's, and you could print this out separately from the card base that you cut and stick it on top. I would use the offset with it just to make it a little bit cleaner cut on the edge. So you can do it that way, and you can cut another one and reverse it if you want to, or mirror it if you want to put it on the inside. That's up to you, but I just tried to keep it clean, and that is how I did it. So I printed, because I had extra space, I added a couple of sentiments to there. I got a happy birthday, I got a thinking of you. I mean, you could do anything. So let's switch back over again to Designspace. And what you would do, the way I did it was, I took this, I'm going to make a copy just because I know I'm going to wish I had. I'm going to ungroup it. Well, actually I'm not. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to bring it to the front though. I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to line that up. Okay. So I think that's about where I want it. So I'm going to try and just see if this, because you know, remember I did move it up 1 click and over to the right 1 click. I'm going to do top and right and see what that gives me. That looks pretty good though. Okay, so now you do want to do something about these little pieces out here, because this one here is going to get cut off. Everything else will be fine because these are actually going to print on the card base, but this one you need to eliminate. So we're going to click it, we're going to have to ungroup it, and then select it again and go into contour. And it's this little piece right down there that we want to get rid of, if it will let me click on it, which it's not. So I'm going to zoom in. Let's try that again. There we go. Sometimes you got to get off and over where you don't think you need to be. There should be a little part down here as well. I thought I saw it highlight a second ago. Well, let's just go in 100%. There we go. Let's try it this way. There we go. Okay, so hit apply, and you can see that is now gone, although we do need to do the same thing on the offset layer. So you go back into contour, and then we're going to do it right there. Well, there we go. Apply, and then apparently we need to do it on the card base as well, because we didn't do it before we sliced it out of there. So I'm going to have to detach everything first, select the card base again. Nope, that's not letting me. But it is the card base. That's the slice result. But it's not letting me take this out of there. So let's just see. Well, it won't hurt if it cuts that out, but I'm not sure why it's there. You know what? There's more than one way to skin a cat. Not that I would ever skin a cat. You grow up hearing those things and they just fall out of your mouth without you ever really intending it. Okay, so I'm going to put that over that piece. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. And then I'm going to select the card base and hit slice. So that should take that out of there, except it doesn't appear to be. Oh, I know why. Okay, back all that up. Is it, it's not, yeah, there's contour, but we haven't selected it on there, so that's okay. It is showing the gray layer. So what if we go to material colors, and it's not really showing up there either. So I don't know what this little piece is hanging out over here. It might just be a glitch in the software. That does happen. Okay, so we'll ignore all that. And now what we want to do is we want to take all of this here, the card base, the image, and the offset, but not the score line. And you want to go back into layers and you want to flatten it. You don't have to worry about that white printing out unless you're using something other than a white to print on. Okay, so if your cardstock is white, you don't have to worry about that white. It won't print. If it's, well, actually it's not going to print no matter what. So you can make it white and use any color card base. Most printers don't print white. Very few do. If you have one, you spent a ton of money on it. So yeah, so that's what you want to do. Okay, sorry, I'm thinking my way through this as I go. Now let's back up. We're going to send this back to the bottom. Maybe. Unless no, I didn't. Okay. Well, I'll use the commands to do it that way. Arrange, send to back. And there it goes. Okay, so now select that and attach. So that will print out your card. It will cut the edge for you very nicely and it will print it. And just make sure that your card or your printer, make sure your printer will accommodate your cardstock, especially the heavier weights, because it might not. Mine does, but yours might not. I'm using Nina Classic Crest Solar White 110 pound cardstock. There is also matte photo paper that's thicker that you could use. It's got a little bit of a grayish tint to it, but it's very slight. I mean, otherwise, if you are using a thinner cardstock to print on and you wanted to print the flower separately, then you would just use this piece over here and cut it out around the offset. So that's how you do it. I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't, I might, when I'm editing it, I might have to come back in and do something different. I don't know. But hopefully this makes sense to you. That's how you kind of get the same look that she got. Now, again, it is different because I'm not putting a piece in here, and this piece is actually printed on my card base. but you can do it the way she did it. You're just going to print this layer out separately. Make sure you make a copy of it after you pull in your design. You make your offset, make a copy of that offset, and line it up on the card base the way I showed you, and cut that out. And then you'll use this piece up here to cut out from from a card base. So that's, but you can do it either way. I think it's darling. I love the idea. I feel like I was really happy with the end result. And again, you could do happy birthday, you could do whatever you want, depending on the design you use. I wanted mine to fill up most of the card front, but you could make it smaller if you want. That's up to you, but you can see there's plenty of room to write in here. So all of this over here is going to be hidden, or you can even use this, or you can even use the back. You can do it however you want, but I think it's adorable, and I can't wait to make more of them. I'm thinking about a Halloween and maybe a haunted house where it kind of cuts off the roof over here or something, but then, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking. But flowers, I love flowers. You can't go wrong with flowers. And then you can add whatever embellishment you want. I will, I'm sure, when I finish this, which is way up there and you can't see it. I am so sorry. I'm sure when I finish this, I'll find a butterfly that I think looks good on there, or a dragonfly, or a little hummingbird or something. I don't know. But I just think this is darling. I thank Jennifer for the idea. There's more than one way to use your crafting supplies. If you, like Jennifer, love doing all of that by hand, that's great. If you've got the tools and the space for them, that's even better. If you're like me and you have a limited space and you don't want to keep spending money on new stuff, your Cricut is the way to go. And so that's why I wanted to design this. And like I said, I am super happy with the way this came out. This isn't even a good photo paper. It's just the Nina Classic Crest Solar White paper. But it printed so neat and so vivid. I'm really happy with it. So there you go, guys. And don't forget to take up the extra space on your mat with sentiments. When can't you use a sentiment? I just created these in Designspace using some of my system fonts. But you could just as easily use your system fonts or fonts that are in Designspace, or import your own images, whatever you like. But isn't that so cute? I really thought thinking of you would be nice, because who wouldn't, love that if they're in a hospital or a nursing home, or maybe they're just going through a hard time in life. But anyway, I've rambled on far too long. This was supposed to be shorter. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'll do my best to answer them. I realize I kind of rambled through the tutorial, but I was just so excited I wanted to share this with you, because I really do think I just think it's awesome. I think it's a beautiful card, and I just needed my Cricut and some images. So guys, until next time, this is Georgiana signing off, wishing you a happy crafty day.